Hello and welcome to Odds on CONMEBOL Qualifiers for the World Cup match day 14. We have Argentina-Brazil, the game of the games this week. Leo Bachanian, I'm sure you are excited to watch this game in the Monumental, and also I guess our viewers are excited. Also, 𝗀𝗏𝗏 came in a very difficult, again, match day. How are you, Leo?
Hello, Edu. Yes, the 𝗀𝗏𝗏 came well, came good with, as we always say, or at least I say, healthy odds, very high ones, 6, and so happy with that. And about Argentina and Brazil, I'm really looking forward, and I couldn't be more anxious and also scared. I'm always respectful of Brazil, but yes, really looking forward for this Argentina-Brazil on this match day 14. But there is also a very good one, Colombia-Paraguay in Barranquilla. Uruguay is traveling to 𝗀𝗏𝗏𝗀. Many things to talk.
All the games are good in South America, although it's pretty clear the 6 teams that will qualify for the World Cup, in my opinion, is more open. The playoff spot, Argentina already secure, correct me if I'm wrong, the playoffs at least
yes.
to go to the World Cup, and in this match day can be the first team to qualify in South America. So guys, let's enjoy CONMEBOL Qualifiers with Leo Bachanian. Of course, press the like if you enjoy our videos, and now let's go on with the show. All the games on Tuesday, Leo, and we travel to El Alto, the altitude, as we always say, Bolivia, Uruguay. Very difficult to play there. At home, Bolivia, 3 wins, 1 draw, and 2 defeats. Right now in playoff spots with 13 points, 1 more than Venezuela, 3 more than Peru, but they couldn't win in the last game. They played in home soil against Paraguay. Uruguay, they lost to Argentina. They deserve to lose, indeed. They conceded more chances. They didn't create much. And away is only 1 win for Uruguay in Argentina. It's not easy, and it's a good test, this one, for Bielsa's men.
Yes, absolutely. And the last time they played in the altitude of Bolivia, in that case it was in Eduardo Siles of La Paz. They never played in El Alto, but last time they played there, Uruguay lost 3-0, and it was the last game of Oscar Washington Tavares. I'm not saying that Uruguay losing on Tuesday will mean that Bielsa is leaving. Not at all, although he's been quite or heavily criticized at the moment for what we have seen against Argentina, which wasn't good. Because to be honest, apart from those maybe 15-20 minutes in the first half, then we didn't see much from Uruguay. And even in those moments when they were a bit better than Argentina, they did not manage to create a single chance, and that is a worrying aspect for Bielsa. Pellistri, Araujo, Darwin did not threaten at all in attack. The Arrascaeta never got a grip of the game, and he was replaced in the first half because as well he got injured. At least that's what Bielsa said. He was replaced by De La Cruz, and it was much of the same. And then De La Cruz also got injured, so none of them, the Arrascaeta and De La Cruz, are not traveling to El Alto. Valverde and Darwin were, at least for me, incredibly taken off in the second half, with Uruguay losing already 1-0. Unless maybe Bielsa was already thinking about the game with Bolivia, and we know that Valverde and Darwin physically are probably 2 of the best players that Uruguay has in terms of their capacity. Bielsa finished the game with 6 attacking or offensive players, and you won't find a single goal opportunity, you said it, in the last 25 minutes. Since the quarterfinals of the Copa America, Uruguay won just 1 of their last 10 matches, and that was against Colombia on match day 11 and on added time. They started match day 13 on 2nd place and finished in 4th. And a defeat in El Alto could mean that they will be 6th by Tuesday night. And then on the other hand, you wouldn't find a more South American clash or Copa Libertadores vibe for Bolivia that would happen to them in Lima, because the police retained the Bolivian bus at the hotel for no reason. You will find the video of 𝗀𝗵𝗄𝐿 as the manager of Bolivia swearing against the police and shouting. You have done the same with Chile. If that wasn't enough for Bolivia to be late, once the bus started moving, they them at the stadium. So I wouldn't be surprised if this time is Uruguay, the one whose bus is gonna be parked for a little bit longer in El Alto. Bolivia, we always say the way from the altitude is not much they do, and this was more of the same, even though Peru was the bottom of the table at the start of the game. The only good news is 𝐬𝐭𝐚𝐲, who scored from the penalty spot to make it the 1-2. It's 5 goals for him in 7 matches for Bolivia this qualifiers. But again, we always know that to play at El Alto changes completely everything. 7 out of 9 points playing at more than 4,000 meters above the sea level. So I will expect goals here, as is always the case, or generally the case in the altitude of El Alto, with Bolivia as favorite, which I agree. My take here, Edu, is goals over 2.5, odds of 2.2.
Well, crazy to see Bolivia as favorite. Not crazy because in the altitude they are always favorite, but seeing the players in both teams is surprising. And now the game of the games in the Monumental in Buenos Aires. Argentina, Brazil, basically the same odds as Bolivia, Uruguay. Argentina favorite, 1.3. Brazil, the underdog, 3.7. You mentioned at the beginning that you never trust Brazil. You are always with the heavy guard when Brazil is coming to Argentina, but in these CONMEBOL qualifiers, in the last games, of course, we should place Argentina as favorites, no matter Leo Messi is not there, no matter 𝗵𝗵𝗏 was also out in the games against Uruguay. Also, Nico Gonzalez is going to miss this one because he saw a red card, but Argentina played well, had more chances, and won in a very difficult pitch, as is always Montevideo. And Brazil, as always in these CONMEBOL qualifiers, Leo, they are not convincing us, although it was very important to get the 3 points in the games against Colombia, with Vinicius as protagonist, as a main star, no matter what he does in the pitch, if it's a great goal, if it's a penalty, if it's almost in a red card with the colleagues pushing him out to the pitch. Well, Leo, what can we expect in this Argentina-Brazil? It's going to be tense, a lot of cards, a lot of fouls, perhaps low-scoring game.
Edu, that one is spot on, because cards market for this one, and then when I go to my tips for this game, I will say something about it, is something to really look forward. Then when people think, oh, Argentina, Brazil, and all the talent involved, and especially with all the attacking play that Brazil has, people might think about goals, but it's not the case. When you go to the head-to-head, the last 7 encounters between Argentina and Brazil, they were all goals under 2.5. Brazil and Argentina haven't won since 2009. On that time was Dunga the manager, and Maradona was the manager for Argentina. That game was played in Rosario, not in Buenos Aires. Maradona wanted to create even a little bit more of an atmosphere against Brazil. It didn't pay off. Brazil won 3-1 that game, but since then you wouldn't find Brazil winning a competitive game in Buenos Aires. With Colombia, I would say that certainly this Brazil is in better shape than in the Copa America. They won it deep another time. Yes, it's true. I'm not saying that this is going to transform Doribal's process, the win against Colombia, but I wouldn't underestimate that anyway. For patches, they were actually very, very, very good. And this is a Brazil which is still under a profound renovation. Let's not forget, only 7 players within this squad. Only 7 of them were present in Qatar. They have 12 players who are 25 or under, and 9 of them started the game against Colombia. They show, yes, maybe some problems which we discussed, I remember, in the Copa America, and is this they find themselves in a real difficulty when they are pressed, when they are trying to build from the back. Will Argentina see this and try to press high? Well, I don't think so, to be honest, because the higher you press, the higher your back line needs to be at halfway line. And to be honest, this Brazilian crop of players, and in the last few years, and I think you will agree, Edu, they are like a detached from the historic Brazilian culture. I mean, Brazil is producing fast wingers, fast midfielders who can create counter-attacks, players who enjoy space in front of them. You won't find pausa as it used to be with Brazil. So that is why Brazil is lacking creativity when an opposition team sits down and Brazil don't find the space to run. Actually, against Colombia, the best moment for Brazil was when Colombia was trying to push a little bit more forward, and then Vini, Rafinha, Rodrigo, they all found spaces to run. And Argentina does not have a problem of sitting in their own half. They did it against La Celeste for at least 45 minutes, or mostly in the first half. If you go a little bit forward, that means that Otamendi and Romero will need to push forward. 𝗂𝗏𝗂 will need to push forward, and that is not a very good thought of them seeing running back. Then if Brazil gets the ball back, there is a downside for Dorival Jr. He won't have Gabriel Magalhães in defense. He's suspended, and also Bruno Guimaraes, who is with Dorival probably the heart of the team in midfield. Bruno Guimaraes played 13 out of 15 games with Dorival, but that's where he got another yellow card, so he won't be in Buenos Aires. And for Argentina, very good second half, Edu. Overall, it was better than I personally thought before the game. 𝗂𝗏𝗏𝗀 Almada not only scoring a beauty, but an amazing work rate to track back with Nathan Nandes. But when Argentina was having the ball, he was drifting inside to combine with Julian Alvarez. Julian didn't have maybe a chance to score, but he was very good at dropping deep and combining with Thiago, with Alexis, with Enzo. Then Giuliano Simeone did what he does best. He ran a lot. You can't ask him to get the ball and drift inside. No, the game for him is to run forward and to track back with the opposition fullback, and he did that perfectly well. 𝗂𝗏𝗏𝗀 in defense was extraordinary. McAllister had another good game. The only thing I would have changed is maybe I would have given Nico Paz, why not, minutes to play, but not much. Otherwise, I would have changed from Argentina there in Montevideo. So again, going back to what I think it should be good to look in terms of the odds here, Edu. Cards market, guys. Cards market and goals under are for me the ones to look. Goals under 2.5 plus or combined with Argentina cards over 2.5. So you only need 3 cards, which in Brazil, Argentina or Argentina-Brazil is almost a given. Goals under 2.5 added with Argentina cards over 2.5. These two together, odds of 2.35.
Well, the under market, actually, the bookies don't expect goals. It's only 1.5
Yep.
for under 2.5 goals. It's 2.6 for over. So the bookies don't expect goals despite all the quality involved in this Argentina-Brazil, one of the best games we can see in the world, talking about the national team. So it's a great game, no matter if it's relevant or not for the qualifications to the World Cup. Next game is indeed very relevant. Chile Ecuador, especially relevant for Chile, right now bottom of the table with only 9 points, desperate, but they are 4 points away from Bolivia. So if they take the 3 points, they can still dream with a playoffs, but it's going to be very difficult. Leo, Ecuador, they are sitting second in the standings, the biggest surprise, especially thanks to their defense. Only 5 goals conceded. They beat Venezuela with Ener Valencia scoring a brace, so it's very difficult to trust on this Chile. And do you understand why are they favorites? 2.7.
No, not at all. And the odds on Ecuador are amazing, to be honest. And it could have been a hat trick for 𝗀𝗏𝗏𝗀. He missed a penalty. And the game, if you look only at the score, 2-1 in Quito against Venezuela, that is a bit misleading. The game could have finished easily 4-1, 5-1. Ecuador created plenty of chances, still in a great moment. 4 wins and 2 draws in the last 6. And with Venezuela, they dominated the all game. It's going to be a special game for 𝗵𝗏𝗍𝐻, the manager of Ecuador, because he was Sampaoli's assistant manager when Chile won their first ever Copa America in 2015. Then he left, like Sampaoli, in bad terms with the federation. But 𝗵𝗏𝗍𝐻 always had good words about Chilean players. But I cannot trust this Chile. Yes, this is a final for them, but it was also a final for them in Asunción, and they didn't create a single chance. And then Gareca finished the game, and he says that this team is evolving. I didn't see any of that, but I'm the one who is wrong. It's just 1 win in 7 with Gareca for Chile. They were speculative again, never took the game into Paraguayan's half, never showing the urgency that this moment requires for Chile. I understand that Gareca did not want to leave spaces behind against a team like Paraguay, that they're good as well in counter-attacks. But they, at the end of the day, they anyway went home without a single point. They lost 8, drew 3, and won just 2, Chile, these qualifiers. And those 2 wins were against Peru and Venezuela, who are their companions at the bottom of the table. Chilean Federation already informing the media that they're going to have a meeting with Gareca on Monday. Why they do that? They're just showing that there's no confidence in Gareca. And the only reason actually that Gareca wasn't fired before is just an economic one. It's because Gareca and Bielsa are the managers who get the best salary in South America. It's almost like $4 million for Gareca a year. Third in that list, you will find 𝗀𝗏𝗏𝗀𝗏𝗏, and fourth on that list is Gustavo Alfaro. I'm saying this because it's incredible that Scaloni, being the world champion, only comes 5th in terms of like how much they get paid, the managers in South America. It's something maybe similar to De La Fuente in Spain. There are many other managers who are higher earners than De La Fuente, even though De La Fuente won the Euros with Spain, and now he took them to the semifinals of the Nations League. So yes, favorites here. I don't agree with the bookies. For me, it's Ecuador. I look at the odds and are great, and I will take them. For me, it's Ecuador to win, odds of 3.1.
Well, if you want to risk less, of course, you can go for the double chance. You can go for the Asian handicap 0 for Ecuador, for instance. But we have great odds to back Ecuador. And you highlighted at the beginning of the video this game in Barranquilla, Colombia. Paraguay with almost 2 feet in the World Cup, 20 points, 1 more right now than Colombia after beating Chile, with Alderete scoring the winner from set pieces. No defeats in the last 7. Actually, the last defeat was against Colombia in home soil. Paraguay also defending well, 7 goals conceded and making the most of the only 9 goals scored. Colombia, Leo, going in the opposite way after the great Copa America last summer. Now it's 4 defeats in the last 5 games. What is going on with Colombia?
Well, when we talk about South American unpredictability when it comes to qualifiers, you need to look at the runs of these 2 teams, because 6 months ago the reality for Colombia and Paraguay was completely different. We had Colombia in 2nd place and Paraguay only in their best dreams thinking of getting a direct spot to the next World Cup. And now we have Colombia on 3 consecutive defeats and 6 in the table, and Paraguay undefeated, as you say, in the last 7, winning 4 of them, and 5th in the tables. Colombia and Brasilia, anyway, they had good moments. I wouldn't say that actually probably was one of the best games from Colombia lately, even though, again, they went empty-handed back to Colombia. But I agree with you. Lorenzo needs to get them back to the level we saw them in the Copa America, and and also many games in these qualifiers too. This game should be the return of John Duran as the main attacking option for Lorenzo. At the beginning of his tenure, his choice was Rafael Santos Borré. Then before the Copa America and during the tournament was John 𝐿𝐵𝗏𝗏, who also scored 2 goals in that competition. But since the restart of the qualifier last September, Córdoba had many poor games, and Brasilia was one more of them. He's missing chances every game, and this should be an opportunity to fully trust Duran, who was suspended against Brazil, but now he can return, and I expect him to be in the starting lineup. Something to work for Lorenzo and for Colombia anyway, that once again they lost points in the last minutes of the game. That happened on Thursday. It happened in November with Uruguay when they lost 9 minutes into added time. It happened with Argentina in the Copa America when they lost 6 minutes before the end of the extra time. It happened as well with Uruguay in Barranquilla when Darwin Núñez scored in the 93rd minute of the game. And for Paraguay as well, the most important aspect is that even with a defeat, they will still be at least 4 points above the 7th spot if Bolivia wins against Uruguay. With Chile, it wasn't the best game for them. Probably one of the poorest display, at least at home, since Alfaro took over. They lack creativity in that final third. They needed, as you mentioned, a set piece to win, but it doesn't matter for Alfaro and for the supporters. If they go to the next World Cup, which I think they will, Alfaro will have a hero status for the 𝗷𝗵𝗏𝗏. With Alfaro, 3 away games in the qualifiers, 3 draws, and 2 of them were 0-0 against Ecuador and Uruguay. The odds on Paraguay are massive for a win. Even a double chance for Paraguay is very good with odds of 2.5. But I agree with Colombia being the favorite here. They have a point to prove against their own people. They're going to create chances. They did the same against Ecuador. Yes, they lost 1-0, but Hernán Galíndez was the man of the match that game, and they created many chances to score, even though it wasn't the best game from Colombia. But I will trust them this time under the heat and the humidity of Barranquilla. Colombia to win plus goals over 1.5, odds of 2.27.
Well, after the carnival in Barranquilla, another way to enjoy life and watch this Colombia-Paraguay, really, really interesting. And then we have Venezuela, Peru, key game also for the fight for the playoff spots. I was reading some negative comments about the manager Batista, and perhaps he is going to be sacked if Venezuela is not winning. This game is no wins in the last 9 qualifiers since the win against Chile in October 2023. Peru is the opposite. They are alive. They are optimistic after beating Bolivia with Paolo Guerrero, the old rocker, still scoring, and with the inexperienced 𝐬𝐭𝐚𝐲 on the bench, getting an important win against Bolivia.
Was massive, Edu, and now you have Peru dreaming, believing again. From bottom of the table to knowing that if they win and Uruguay gives them a hand, they could be in a playoff spot or at least 1 point behind. Against Bolivia was one of the best performances of the competition thus far. Polo, Carrillo, Advíncula, Reina, that right hand side of the Peruvian attack was actually pretty good, and it was also good to see Paolo Guerrero scoring again his first goal these qualifiers. He's 41 years old. A great story, and this needs to be the game for Peru if they are to keep dreaming, because the next 3 games for them are Colombia, Ecuador, and Uruguay, and 2 of those 3 games are going to be away from home. Venezuela, yes, it's a final for them. You mentioned Batista under immense pressure at the moment. The Vinotinto had just 17% possession in the first half with Ecuador. There's no way of winning a game like that. But then you listen to the players and after the game, and they all say that the plan was to attack. But how could be that the plan was to attack, and then between the goalkeeper Romo and Rondon, the striker, there was only 30 meters almost all game. Only in the last 10 minutes of the match, Venezuela thought of attacking. Yes, they make the game 1-2 after Valencia missed a penalty, and they could have even scored in the 93rd minute with Soteldo. So basically they could have even take a point back to Venezuela, but again it was very misleading. This game should have been for Venezuela 1-3, 1-4, 1-4 defeat. So to be honest, I'm not saying here I'm gonna fully trust Peru going for the 3 points, but the double chance has very good odds, so I'm going that route, Edu. Double chance Peru, odds of 1.75 against this Venezuela, who is almost unrecognizable from the one we saw at the beginning of these qualifiers.
Well, this is it. 5 games, as always, in CONMEBOL qualifiers for the World Cup. Very interesting ones. Argentina, Brazil, of course, is the most important one. You can post, remember, your tips in Oddspedia and participate in our tipster competitions and win some cash prizes. And, of course, also you can create your own competition in Rivals. Leo, as you said in the beginning of the video, your ACCA was correct last week. So let's try again. First with your safe bet.
Yes, first bet, first half, double chance, Ecuador, odds of 1.33.
And the ACCA?
ACCA, this time is going to be 2 games ACCA. Bolivia, Uruguay, goals over 2.5. Colombia to win plus goals over 1.5. These two together, odds of 5.1.
Okay, Leo Bachanian, thank you, and see you very soon. Bye-bye.